Shalom. First and foremost, above all things, I want to give all praises and honor and glory that's definitely due to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Rakak Radash, from the prophets in Babylon out of the Waco, Texas camp, affiliated with the branch of prophets in Babylon, Tampa Bay, Florida. I'm your brother Atiyat. I'd like to give a special double honors to the elders and apostles on down at Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. May the blessing of election be upon your household and you sincere brothers and you few sisters out there that listen and take heed. And lesson for today, the clamorous woman. And Lord willing, I hope and pray that this will be an edifying lesson. And so, we live in Babylon, which America is in the Bible was referred to as Babylon, which Babylon means confusion, and this is the place we live, and in this place there's confusion with the roles of a man and the woman, and you have men wanting to be women. You got women wanting to be men, and then you also have women who want to rule over men, So you have all these different scenarios going on, which brings utter confusion. This is why the scriptures say in Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 16, learn the old paths. Go back to the old paths. Learn the old paths. But the 2/3 of Israel are in the spirit of saying, "No, we won't. We're not going back to that. We like it is. And a lot of these jakes out here, they love this place. They love this situation. They love the confusion that goes on. But us brothers who Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai has put the spirit on to get the full, to get the understanding of the scriptures and the roles of how things are supposed to function. And the Lord gave us the proper instructions. A man should rule over a woman. Now, in this society, it'll make you, it'll try to shame you for a man, for scriptures like that a man rules over a woman. But that's exactly how the Lord set it up. So if you got a problem with that, you got a problem with Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, because that's how he set it up. The scriptures refer to the woman as the weaker vessel. And we see now in the spirit, a lot of you women, who come on different social platforms are complaining about how things are tough, being over your own household. And some of y'all are in that spirit to where you want men to take over because you're tired, you're weary, But that's because you bought into, what Esau was saying, that a woman rules over a man, that, the queen of heaven's spirit, which a queen is nothing but a harlot, And a lot of these women, they don't want to be ruled over because they're, being that they have been brainwashed by this society's mindset, the philosophies, the wine, they don't want to be ruled over. Here's the thing. You can correct a woman and try to give her the proper way of doing things, and she's always got something else to say. She's always got she got to always say something back, instead of just taking what's said, it's just like, I just say it's just like in the brotherhood. It's like, okay, when a brother tells you something, Maybe you might be going off in a particular area, you know, and that brother's over you. The proper thing to do is and he explains it to you to the point to where you understand where you go off. Then you say you can say point well taken, understood, you know. But that's a submissive spirit. That's a spirit that Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai wants. But these women, they're not in that spirit because these women don't want to submit. You got some women out here that are homeless. I just did a video about that not too long ago. You're homeless, but you're still in a proud, prideful spirit. And I believe things have to get a lot more worse, because it's bad to be homeless. But, things have to get, the Lord's going to have to make things even more worse, if that's a word, to get these women to get out of that prideful, proud state. And a lot of these women are, a lot of them have health problems and things of that nature, and you're still in the spirit, as well as financial problems, but you still want to be proud. You still want to be prideful. So the Lord's going to have to take away these things. You still want to be loud, and this is one of the reasons why I made this video. But this society has put you in a spirit of thinking more of yourself than you should, and now Esau is going to cut you off. Examples of that, a lot of there's like I think it was back in July, there was like 300,000 women, who are of the tribe of Israel, I believe, that are out of the workforce. Whether they were fired or replaced, what have you, So a lot of these women are struggling, But that's the thing that, Esau put on you women to make you think more of yourselves than, of a man, A lot of you women are in that spirit of thinking I'm so much smarter than a man. I got a GED, I got a doctorate degree, and so on and so on. But, at the end of the day, when things get worse out here, those degrees, those pieces of papers that you've gotten going to college and so on are not going to help you. You're going to have the spirit of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, in particular a man that's of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, that has that the Lord is using, And a lot of these women that's in that spirit of being clamorous, loud, back talking, always got something to say when you're criticized, always got an excuse instead of just saying, okay, yeah, let me, do better, what have you, Because there's an order. Even in the brotherhood, there's an order. If an elder tells you something, you're going off on, suck it up. Understand what the brother is saying, Even sometimes there may be times when you don't get it, but then later on down the line, the Lord will put the spirit on you to see what that brother was talking about instead of you just running your damn mouth. And that's what a lot of times you women do. You run your damn mouth. You don't want to just listen, But this is all Esau's fault, Esau put you in that mindset. He buttered you up into thinking these things, that you could be smart mouthed and talk back to your man and talk back to men in general, Jeremiah 31:22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai has created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man, And that's what's going on over here in Babylon, the land of confusion. A woman has compassed the man. This is why you have a woman that's over you. Even in the household, you know, there's that saying, happy wife, happy life. And this is why a lot of women are single now, because their spirit ain't right, because they're, you know, they have joined with Esau in bringing Jake down. You know, the bad attitude, the back talking. You can't deal with a woman that doesn't want to be led. You know, and this is why a lot of women are raising their kids on their own, because of that mindset. You know. Proverbs chapter 9 and verse 13. A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knoweth nothing. Okay, clamorous means loud. You know, I mean, like, you turn the corner and you can hear her mouth just like, damn, you know what I'm saying? And hear everything that this woman is saying. That's loud, man. Our women are not supposed to be like that. Our women are supposed to be a reflection of what Yahweh Hashem Yahweh wanted in a woman, to be silent, soft-spoken, shame-faced. These women, they're very loud and you know, very, they're you know, they're not shameless at all. They have no, you know, they're shameless. You know, let me see. It was something that a brother did here a while back. This video, this post that a brother put up. If I still got it, I still got it. Okay, I don't have it, but basically. He said it best. He said that that these modern day women here, not all you women now, let me get this, let me clarify this, because a lot of times you women will say we're lumping y'all all in the same group, but if you're feeling some kind of way, then you might need to think about this, because the Lord ain't playing. This is not my words. These are the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, to get into a spirit of being shamefaced, being humble, meek, lowly. This society teaches you to be prideful, to be, you know, to be prideful, to be proud. And at the end of the day, you know, you have to understand, you know, you women who are of the tribes of Israel, which represents the Native American, the so-called Native American Indian, the so-called Latino, the so-called black woman. You're all the children of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, you know, his favorite seed. So he expects you women to be silent. He expects you women to be shamefaced, you know, lowly, meek, humble. He also requires that from the men, to be in that same spirit, not to be proud, not to be prideful, you know. As children of Israel, we're supposed to be the light of the world in a dark place, because this place is dark, man. This whole earth is really dark, in particular America, you know. But if I can remember the post that the brother put up, he said that that the women are a lot of these women that's in that spirit of being loud and clamorous and foolish, they contribute to nothing. They're ashamed about they're not ashamed about anything. What else was that? Oh man. you know, basically non-apologetic, jelly, you know, don't take no accountability, you know, and you know, basically, you know, that's the wrong spirit to be in, man. And so when things get a lot worse out here, and it's rough right now, but it's going to get increasingly worse, you know, the Lord is going to turn up his men. And, you know, when he turns his men up to what they're spoken of in Isaiah 13 and 12, where he'll make a man more precious than fine gold. Ain't no man gonna, you know, ain't no brother of Yahweh Shem Yahushua gonna want to deal with a woman that's in the spirit of being clamorous and foolish, or you know, not at all, you know. So let me go into some scriptures, and I'm gonna close out. Because it's getting worse out here, and you women, you're gonna see that it's best to follow the ways of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua than to keep on being in the foolishness and being clamorous, you know, because Esau has turned his back on you. Next year, I don't know if it's in February or March, somewhere like that, you know, they plan to cut off those food stamps, you know, government subsidies. So what a lot of you women gonna do? And not saying that all you women of the tribes are on food stamps, but you know, there are a lot that are, you know. And then you got women losing jobs. So it's gonna get even worse out here with you know, AI coming into fruition and things of that nature. A lot of you, you know, things that you've been doing to make your money, you ain't gonna be able to do it. First Timothy chapter 5 and verse 14. I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guard the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. Yeah, so you don't want to, you dealing with your husband, you don't want to speak to him in a reproachful way. You want to be respectful. A lot of these women, they want to speak their mind and you know, be opinionated, you know, instead of just going about what your husband wants, you know. But see, this is what this society has brought to our people. Nothing but confusion. This is why Yahweh Shem Yahushai said, you know, Yahweh Shem Yahushai says that you go back and learn the old ways, the old paths, you know, because it's better for you. The ways of this heathen, you know, all this added up to is nothing but destruction, because what's, you know, what's happening is Jake is getting roused up, you know. He's already realized, a lot of these Jakes are starting to realize, hey, you know, they're looked upon as the enemy. And then you got Eve over here acting a damn fool, you know. And a lot of these women are coming up missing, unalive, you know. But that's judgment from the Heavenly Father for your actions, man, you know. That's why the scriptures say no one dies without, you know, being innocent. And a lot of you women are not innocent, man. You ain't right. And this is why the Lord is you know, turning up on you women. Yeah, so, you know, women that are in that spirit, get out of it. Because Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is not dealing with that, man. Now, if you're in this, in a right spirit, you're humble, you're meek, you're lowly, then this doesn't apply to you. All I can say is, continue on because it is pleasing unto Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, a woman who, does right by her man, last book I want to go into was Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 26, and I'll start in verse 1. Blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be double. Yeah, a man that doesn't have to deal with a contentious woman, overly opinionated. He's less stressed out. This is why a lot of times men die before women, because they're stressed out by by their woman in this society. A virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. Yeah, because that's what he's looking for, especially in this kingdom that we live in. You want to come home to a house of peace. After being around, these heathens that don't believe, whether they be of the nation of Israel, because they're heathens as well right now. They don't believe in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. They don't believe in the laws, and don't have no desire to go back to the old paths. They like the paths of Esau, so they're considered heathens right now. So a lot of them, those represent the 2/3, and then you got the heathens of the other nation as well. So after coming home, you want to come home to peace, not somewhere where you gotta go and argue and fuss again, or deal with upheaval, A good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Yeah, so a good wife is a good portion from Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man, Whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart toward the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance. Yeah, and that's what we want to be. Even though we're in that, a place where, we're a place of Babylon, a land of confusion. You don't want to deal with a contentious woman, man. It's better to just, as the scriptures say, it's better to be alone than to live and dwell with a contentious woman. So, Lord willing, I hope and pray that this is an edifying lesson. Salakia for the rant. But again, I want to give all praises and honor and glory that's definitely due to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushai by Hashem, Rakak Radash. Special double honors to the elders and apostles on down at Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. Until the next time, Lord willing, I'll say Shalom.